Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly. We're back with another East Tennessee fishing report with Ellis Ward. Ellis, how are you?
I'm doing well, Marv. How are you?
As always, I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. And, it's kind of funny. I was joking with Matt last week that you screwed up the weather again and it's gotten hot again.
Yeah, I think that as much as I can curse the forecast, Mother Nature is doing us a favor this week, and I actually had a guy call me today, and he's coming up here with some friends, and just called me to ask some questions and see if the impending hurricane was going to make it not good for them driving up from Alabama. And I've had my eye on, there was a tropical storm, quote unquote, like a week plus ago. And the tropical storm season is, again, to preface, I don't want to be insensitive, piss someone off for saying that I like it when we get them, because I know that, even last month or whatever, Charlotte got your son's school was closed. Like it causes damage. So, but by the time this whole thing is about me, we know that. So by the time it's here, it's dissipated, it's spread over the mountains, it's filling up all the little creeks, and it's just been, the third year in a row of really, really low water. And that's really not changing outside of these depressions coming in. So we have gray skies and precipitation on and off over the next week, including looks like a day or two of some more focused rain that won't just be the drizzly stuff, but we'll actually get some water in the rivers, and it'll make things probably unfishable on the upper French Broad for a little bit. I was fishing Melton in Middle Tennessee, or near Knoxville, a couple of days ago, and that water's at 65, and there's fish moving, and they managed to catch a 50-inch muskie a couple days prior on the French Broad. So, and that water is kind of in the 68 zone, and I've said it before, it normally peaks around mid to lower 70s, which is just about on the upper edge of that comfort zone, where you don't want to be fishing them anymore. And so we'll get, with some cooler temps, which has not been the case, and some rain, which has not been the case, things will be in pretty good shape heading into fall here.
Yeah, and I've noticed from your Instagram feed, looks like you've been fishing pretty full water when you've been out pulling streamers.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to have trips the last 2 Saturdays, and prior to that, basically I had, the last 3 or 4 trips have coincided with some windows where we had water. And prior to that, had a couple tough days in low water, but pushed those boats towards mousing. And it's been, it's always interesting trying to make anything and everything suit the needs of anglers, but it's been good in the last couple of days, and this last weekend. I don't know if he'll be listening. I'll try to get him to, but shout out Bart for second time on my boat. He just texted me on Friday. I was actually I'm going to try to make this one fast, but it's kind of a funny story. I'm out fishing Melton. It's a couple hours away. I wanted to be there for 2 days and ended up staying at a hotel near Dandridge. It's like an hour away. Everything in Knoxville, crazy expensive. And it's because of the Bristol races. So client Bart texts me and says, "You want to fish tomorrow?" We worked that out and we're going to meet. So we end up meeting, and not till the end of the night do I discover that he's from Southwest Virginia. He came down here and then realized all the hotels were super expensive and told me he stayed in some shitty Red Roof Inn near Dandridge. And I was like, what now? So when he was texting me and I was like, yeah, dude, I'm in Melton. Like, I'll be back in the area. We might be able to do a later trip, whatever. He was a couple rooms down. I don't know if that's small world or just two strange dudes doing the same strange stuff, but we ended up we moved so many big fish, and that was his second time streamer fishing. He's a all around great angler, lots of saltwater experience. But the whole doing it from a boat thing, as you know, is a different animal. And man, it's been, when that water's up, it's been cooking recently.
Yeah, that's neat. And we got a question for you from Brenner. Brenner wanted to get your thoughts on, he's kind of getting musky fever like everybody else kind of in the Southeast. He wanted to get your thoughts on how changes in moon phase and barometric pressure affect the musky bite.
Yeah. I start to get hesitant with this one because there's so much information available and it does become overwhelming. One of the things that I want to avoid is stopping someone or instilling a low degree of confidence with moon phases that aren't quote unquote active. And, that said, my booking, like when someone calls me and say, do you have a time in late November? Or how's your schedule looking in October? And I'll look through like 2 or 3 days in a row in October. So I'll look through, see where some of those blocks exist. And the first thing I do is go from my availability to the moon phase calendar, just because we'd never know what conditions are going to look like. That's kind of my tiebreaker because I've seen it with trout too. And mousing 100%. Like, I'm not fishing someone when it's moonrise at 7 p.m. and it's a full moon. Like, we're not mousing. We have to mouse the following week or, the 2 weeks after that. So I will say that there's an unavoidable correlation. And I really approached, this is my 5th year of fishing the French Broad and the clinch system and, Melton Hill Reservoir. And Matt's shown off to me a couple times on the new, but I don't guide there, and I'll just occasionally be taken to whale on fish with him. So I don't pay attention up there, but I try to not pay attention to it when I'm fishing, and I try to not pay attention to it when, for the first couple years, really, I was thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go fish. It's sort of the same with streamers where, what color are you fishing? I don't care. What color do you like to fish? Why do you like to fish? I mean, on Saturday, I love the swim bug. I love the drop. If I can get someone going on a swim bug, man, and then they're feeling it, and we just pound fish. It happens. and the eats are extraordinary. And so Barb's feeling it. He's fishing it with confidence, and we go through phases, we go through periods of time, even good banks where it's just not happening. And he, stayed the course, and we moved some very serious fish, missed more than he would like to talk about ever again, and landed a couple nice ones. So kind of the same deal with Musky, where if you go in there with this set expectation of they're only going to bite during this period of time, or this expectation of they're less likely to bite now, you just start kind of T-Rex and stuff, getting the short arms and not putting it up under the junk, or getting the down, looking past a down tree, and that V, when you look back upstream, that V from two branches meeting, you gotta put it up right in the middle of that thing, and maybe check it 2 or 3 times if you're moving slowly enough. And so this idea of, and Marv, I remember you telling me fishing with Blaine, where you're fishing some deeper troughs, and he was kind of coaching you to, what the fly looks like, what it's doing, and just know what it's doing down there. And so after you have this, whatever you want to call it, this relationship built with your fly rod, with the fly, and you can envision everything happening, it sounds silly, and it can feel silly until it very quickly doesn't. But you have to fish like you're going to catch a muskie every single cast. And I've been fortunate to fish with a wide variety of anglers from all different backgrounds. And one of my good buddies, Matt, from up in he's in Illinois, but grew up in Wisconsin, and we were fishing Melton a little bit and just getting ripped apart with the wind. And we changed pretty quickly, went to a nearby river and got a fish pretty quickly thereafter. And I was kind of like, I just felt like we had wasted time just getting ripped around by wind. But the whole time I was getting ripped around by wind rowing, he was fishing. He was trolling when we were getting pushed by wind on the way out. And he was like, that's not a waste of time. I got 200 casts out. It's just as good a chance as any other cast. And I think that was like 3 years ago at that point. So kind of putting all these things together, it's, look, do your own research. I would encourage you to do that. I don't want to either poison the well or have you drink some Kool-Aid that doesn't help you. But the deal with muskie is that, and this is one of the only cliches that I like. I dislike cliches most of the time, but you can't catch them from the couch is such a good one, because it isn't that you need to go out and be there with the fly in the right place at the right time. Full stop, period. That's how you catch muskie. It can be said for sure that is a way to get a muskie to eat. But you have to check all the boxes. And another one I like is fishing with Chris Willen. I know you talked to him a few years ago. He was talking about Larry Dahlberg using a lottery ticket where you don't have to match up the bars and the bells and the cherries. It's a big scratch off ticket, and all you have to do is get one. It doesn't matter the order. It doesn't matter nothing. It's just one has to hit. And so to just not scratch some, like if you're going out fishing, you scratch every single one. It's so stupid to just not scratch a couple, because those have just as good odds as anything else. So yeah, I would just say for it, assuming that you're not fishing 7 days a week or for every single day of the moon phase, go out and fish as hard as you can for as long as you can when you're able to. And if you have the flexibility to schedule around moon phases, then I would encourage you to look up the solar calendar and try to navigate some of those active periods, which have some of the bigger and longer peaks around the full and the new moon.
Yeah, and I always say you're never going to be back at the office regretting fishing for that extra half an hour.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I mean,
wish I'd gone home sooner.
I put a cast out at the boat ramp almost every trip. And for the folks that have fished with me, it's very rare that I have that the ramp gets in sight and we start to pack up. Like when you're out there, especially fishing for big browns, fishing for musky, check, double check. Exactly. You're not going to regret that extra half an hour for sure. And musky in particular, man. I've heard some colorful stories from Matt Riley. I've had a few myself. He has way more musky guided trips under his belt than I do, but some people want to bail. Some people call it with 45 minutes left, kind of lights kind of going down. And we have this calendar that as a guide who knows what they're doing or who has a plan and who has fished this water on their own and who understands timing and light and all of that stuff, man, that last 45 minutes, we're hitting the juice. And it's because we also want that low light, and there's implications with sunset. And again, not that you don't fish any less hard during the in-between times, but yeah, that last low light period of the day is certainly a time you should be fishing hard.
Yeah, there you go. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us or DM us on social media. Or if you go to our Instagram profile, there's actually a button you can touch and record the question. And you may actually hear your question on the fishing report. And, if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag and you into a drawing for some cool stuff from Ellis. And Ellis, you want to update folks on, bucktail prep, how to reach out and get on your guide calendar and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. I am. I don't know if I'm pretty sure I have gotten a couple more boxes of borax since the last time we spoke, but whenever I'm at the Home Depot or Lowe's getting something, mostly for, to fix something on a trailer, I'm grabbing a thing of borax too. So that's going to be right around the corner. I'm going to have a bunch available at Tailwater Fly Company, which is a fly shop opened in Bluff City near the South Holston by my buddy John. And it's the tying material and hook selection and all that. He's doing the whole fly shop thing, flies and stuff to get to tie very, very well. And he's going to have a section for bucktail, which will be pretty cool. And the majority of it will be available on my website, where I'll bring this full circle. You can ask me questions or send me an email to get on the calendar, and that is elliswardflies.com. And you can follow along with some of what I'm doing on Instagram at Ellis Ward Guides.
Well, there you go. Well, folks, as I always say, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Ellis.
Appreciate it, Marv.